motivation is an internal state that propels individuals to engage in goal-directed behavior, right? That's what it is. But what it's not is a constant state. It is a journey. And people are like, I told you earlier, if I got €1 for every time I get a message on Instagram every week saying, I'm just not motivated, how do I get motivation? I was motivated, I've lost motivation, how do I get it back? And I wish, like, I really, really wish I had this pill. Like, if the pharmaceutical industry could jump on board to this, I'd actually get on board with it, just be like, there's some motivation. Take it, and you're like, yes, I could tackle the world. But no. And Mel Robbins has a great quote, and I love her. I love her with anything to do with motivation because she's so blunt, right? She said, motivation is garbage because it's never there when you need it. And that's the truth. When you actually need motivation, it's never there. You're like, how do I get it back? How do I find it? How do I look into the distance and be like, come back, motivation? And there are a lot of things, like, and a lot of people that are going to help you. But seeing it as something that you have to rely on is going to be something that you're really, really going to struggle with if you're just relying on it, okay? So one of the best kept secrets that Instagram and all the fitness heads don't want you to know is that no one's motivated all the time. I'm not motivated all the time. I would consider myself to be someone who is quite self-motivated, but I'm not motivated all the time. And it's another one of them things the personal trainers say that, like, irks me a little bit, but there is a little bit of truth in it. Sometimes it does come down to a little bit of discipline over motivation, right? And we're going to talk about that, not in regards to Drill Sergeant David Goggins' discipline. I'm talking about self-efficacy, which is going to blow your mind when you see motivation from this point of view. Because if you just do things when you feel like doing them, you're never going to reach your goals. And I hate to say that. It's the things you do when you really, really don't want to do them are usually the things that actually inch you way further to your goals. And also you prove to yourself that you can do it when you push yourself to do it when you don't want to. Because motivation is a paradox, and I absolutely love this, right? Because everyone thinks that you have to wait for motivation to start something, and that's going to breed action. But actually, action is what needs to come first. Because action breeds motivation. Motivation then breeds more action. Action breeds more motivation. And it's cyclical, and it goes round and around and around. But you have to start somewhere. And the other thing, and I often find this when I onboard clients, is like, you need to meet yourself where you're at in life at this moment in time. Because people will come to me and they'll be like, okay, I want to get into health and fitness. What have you done over the last few years? I actually haven't done anything. I've been working a sedentary job the last 5 years. My step count is probably about 4,000 or 5,000 a day, and I haven't done any training. But yeah, I think I'm going to train 6 times in the gym a week. I'm going to have a step count of about 10 to 15,000, and I'm going to do, and I'm like, whoa, right? You're going from 0 to 100, right? No wonder you're going to burn yourself out and lose motivation in 2 weeks. Lower the bar. And I don't mean this to be like, make it piss easy for yourself, right? But lower the bar to entry. Because if you lower the bar and someone tells me they haven't done anything for like X amount of weeks or whatever, can we do 3 workouts for 30 minutes? If you've been doing 5,000 steps a day, can we do 6,000? Right? Again, coming back to that goal setting and then process goals that are within reach, because what I'm going to keep talking about today is when you achieve all these things, then the only way is up, and you increase your belief that you actually can achieve it. But if you have the bar here, maybe you hit it for a week or 2, but then you know yourself. Anytime you've done this, anytime I've done this, thrown myself into something, I've burnt myself out in 2 weeks, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore, right? Has that happened to anyone? Yeah? Preach, preach. So that's the first thing, is we need to stop waiting for motivation to strike to start something. We need to actually just do something, no matter how small. Right, no one is coming to do it for you. But, oh my God, ask for help along the way. Like, literally, I love this little thing. Like, she would have never got to the top of that wall if it wasn't for all these people helping her. But if she just waited for them to push her up, she wasn't going to get there. She had to do some work herself. You have the world at your fingertips, and you have all the best coaches in the world at your fingertips, right? But I love this. I actually said this to a client recently, and it's kind of stepping away from my Google Maps analogy. I'll give you the hammer, but you need to decide where to drive the nail. Everyone wants to help you, and especially in spaces like this, I cannot express to you how much that everyone here just wants everyone to achieve everything, because there's no scarcity mindset in things like this. Like, there's enough of everything to go around, right? And if you're in a space where you're made feel Like, there isn't enough to go around and people don't support you, and you do, I hate to say it, right? But when you get older, you do realize sometimes there's people in your life that when you tell them something amazing, they nearly belittle it. Has anyone had that? Yeah, because they think, okay, right, well, you're successful, therefore if you're successful, that takes away from my success. But if you surround yourself with people like this, who only want the best for you, and actually, I have a little group chat, and we actually were talking about this literally yesterday, and we were like, isn't it so amazing that we have friends that actually never in all our lives of knowing each other felt like we were competitions with each other, and we actually always just wanted the best for each other. And it's true, and I was like, but you have to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with that. And this is where environment comes in quite important. It's because I was on a podcast recently, and they were like, I was asking them, do you think we're the product of the 5 people we hang around with the most? And the lads had the best answer for me. They were like, I don't think so anymore. I think you're the product of what you consume the most. What's your Instagram feed like? What's your TikTok feed like, right? But then equally, who are you spending your time with? Are you spending your time with people who actually really want to see you do really well and are like fucking slay queen every time something happens? Or have you got friends that'll barely say good luck or well done when you do something? Like, I'm not saying cut these people out of your life, but don't keep putting yourself in the situation where you have to keep going back to these people. Again, insanity, expecting a different result. And this is where boundaries comes in. I'm not going to talk about boundaries today, that's a lecture in and of itself, but boundaries with people is really important. So now we're going to come on to this. So excited to talk about this, right? Probably one of the most interesting things with regards to motivation, and it's self-efficacy, okay? Self-efficacy is based on an individual's belief in their own capacity to achieve, while motivation is based on the individual's desire to achieve. So one of these is our belief that we can do it, and the other one is our desire to do it. And people tend to get these two mixed up, okay? Now, a lot of things come into play when it comes to self-efficacy, okay? And you'll see them here. We're not going to go too far into this. But people often think that if you have high self-efficacy, you're going to have high motivation. And it's true. It is true. People with a higher self-efficacy do tend to have more motivation because they actually believe they can achieve it, okay? And that's really important, the self-belief that you can achieve it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of self-efficacy, you can't be motivated, because how can you change this? You fucking push yourself out of your comfort zone every damn week. And this is something, when I launched my business, I was like, everything was terrifying, like terrifying. Even deciding what app I wanted to use with my clients, it was terrifying, right? But every time I did something and I pushed myself out of my comfort zone, it paid off. So over the last couple of years, I've constantly been trying to improve my self-efficacy. So therefore, my belief that I can actually do more shit, basically, has improved. And that all comes down to constantly, the only way you can control this is by pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And I try to say to people, try to do it every week, no matter what it is. Maybe you're someone who's terrified to speak up in meetings, which, by the way, ironically, I used to be that person. I was like, don't ask me, I don't want to talk, I am up here doing a public speaking event, and I swear to God, I still won't answer a phone call if it rings. So maybe my goal for next week is answer phone calls when I don't know the number, push myself out of the comfort zone. But no matter what it is, can you think of one thing, like when you were saying about like standing up for yourselves and stuff like that in them work scenarios, that's pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, but now you know you can do it. And you improve your self-efficacy, which improves your motivation. So these are actually some actionable steps. You're like, all right, that's great. I know what motivation is. I know what self-efficacy is. Now tell me how the fuck to get it, how to do it, how to sustain it, right?